Check 1, 2, 3. What's up, everybody? It's Jacob. Going to start a little early. Looks like everything's dialed in. I got the chatbots ready to go. I've been wanting to do one of these debates in real time on a live. There's still a couple of weird technical things that happen. Sometimes when I pick which chatbot to go first and I tell it which one to go, the other one just steps on the other one's foot. So sometimes that happens, and usually it's Gloria. Let's just be honest. I don't think it has anything to do with the personalities. It's just that one of the phones is actually really, really old and much slower. So it has a tendency to kind of chug. And that's the one I happen to always put Manny on. So anyway, in case some of you are suspicious of AI behaving slightly differently. But anyway, hope you're all doing well out there. Give me a one in the chat to make sure you can hear me. It looks like I got my levels. Everything looks good. We've got two channel members here tonight. We've got Dude Seriously, welcome. And of course, our inaugural member, Wise Night Owl, who's been talking in the chat about it. He's been getting really excited about AI, which is, I'm really glad to see that, because that's the whole reason why I do this, is I want to get more folks excited about AI as opposed to kind of just watching it pass them by, because that's what's going to happen. And I'm going to pull up a forum here in a little bit where people are talking about what's going on at their day jobs and how the folks in charge are behaving. Okay, we got a 1, so we're good. So basically this is a forum on Reddit. I'll pull it up in a sec. That CEOs are basically saying, yeah, we can do everything with AI, and then getting their own employees to train the very AIs that will replace them. Kind of shitty, but this is happening, and this is something that reason why I do this is because this is how it's going to happen. And I've talked about this quite regularly, how AI is basically going to get rid of a lot of the entry-level jobs. They'll still be there in the sense of like those will need to be done. But I always talk about this smushing. I don't know how many of you are new here or how many of my videos you've seen. But anyway, there's 3 layers to this cake that I call that's getting smushed. On the bottom, we have the entry-level jobs. And then in the middle, which is the thicker area where you have a lot of the people that really understand how stuff is done, the engineers, the people that know all the different pieces and parts of a business. And then you have another thin layer, kind of like a sandwich with thin bread but lots of meat. But the top layers were like where you have all the white collar jobs, the CEOs, executive suite, accountants, lawyers, all that stuff. And I've talked about how AI is going to basically strip off the bottom layer and the top layer and basically make the middle layer thicker, because all the jobs that were there before in the top and bottom layers are going to get absorbed into the people that will have the AI tools that will take the jobs away from the top and the bottom. I talked very extensively about entry-level jobs going here, but haven't really talked a whole lot about the white collar jobs, how they're going to get affected. So this forum here will sort of expose that a little more. But first, I just want a good laugh, okay? I've had a rough week. So as usual, I like to start off these lives with let everyone kind of get in the door, make sure the audio's good, and then start with some either nightmare fuel or something goofy. And I found this video. Let me make sure I have the right tab open here. That apparently the Disney's been having trouble making their live action remakes of all their animations, and they really screwed the pooch on the Snow White one. And then, last year, or was it 2 years ago? I can't even remember. They did a live action remake of The Little Mermaid, and they did such a terrible job that they're going to do it again with Danny DeVito as the Little Mermaid. So I haven't seen this, so let's see how this trailer works out.
They call me the Little Mermaid, but I ain't no dainty damsel, swishing my fins for applause. I'm a grown woman with a big dream. And that dream's about clawing my way out of this soggy hellhole. I want to be where the party's at, not stuck in this fish tank swimming with losers. That's when I saw him, the prince, strutting on his ship with those legs all high and mighty, like he owns the damn world. And I thought, that's it, that's my ticket. I want sand in my cracks, wind in my face, and that royal stud in my arms. So I swam straight to Ursula's lair and cut a deal. She cackled like I'd signed my own death warrant. But I've talked my way out of worse. Bar fights, tax evasion. You name it.
Oh, Ariel, you sweet, foolish thing. You think legs come cheap? There's a catch, darling, and it's going to squeeze you dry.
Catch! Spare me the fine print, you slimy squid. Hand over the legs and I'll handle the rest. All this junk down here, coral shells, fish bones, I could make a fortune on eBay with this crap. Pay her off some other way.
Ariel, come on. You mad? Trading your voice for legs? You can't even swim proper now. You're gonna get yourself killed.
Sebastian, you worry too much. I've got this. Besides, what's the worst that could happen? I drown? I'm already half fish, for Christ's sake. But deep down, I know he's right. This ain't no fairy tale. It's a shark tank, and I'm the chum. My old man Poseidon ain't too thrilled either. He's been blowing up my shell phone with prophecies all day.
Ariel, my child, dost thou not see the peril? The surface is a wretched abyss of scoundrels and sunburns.
Sunburns, Pops, I'm not planning to tan. I'm trying to get hitched. Besides, you're one to talk with that pasty trident glow.
Think of thy poor mother, Ariel. She'd weep to see thee abandon us.
Mom, she'd be proud I'm hustling. Probably say, go bang that hot prince tigerfish and bring Mama back a crown. Anyway, I'll send you a postcard. Now I gotta bag that prince without a word, easy. I've got charm, guts, and if push comes to shove, I'll just drop my trousers. Works every time. I may not have a voice, but I've got something better. Tits. And a whole lot of desperation. So watch out, world. Princess Ariel's coming for you. And I'm not leaving without my happy ending. Oh, and pass me that dingle hopper. I've got some new hair to comb. This fish puts out.
There you go. And it looks like they're going to knock out a Keanu Reeves one for Cinderella. How about that? Wow, that's exciting. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. There's some new technologies that I'm playing with. I didn't make this, by the way. It's by a channel called Wicked AI. And they're using probably about 3 or 4 different layers of technology. And you're probably wondering how the heck they got Danny DeVito to voice that over, but there's actually a way now to train AIs to mimic voices pretty well. And this person probably, if they didn't find a model online trained already for Danny DeVito, they probably ran their own computer to do it, because there's a lot of weird things around copyright. It's kind of the reason why I wanted to show this, is because what I'm going to demonstrate with image generation tonight really skates the line of copyright violation. And I think they're going to start to lock things down a little more. So yeah, let's visit the chat here, see if there's anybody in here. Pretty quiet tonight, so we'll move on. But thanks, Night Owl. Glad you liked it. Let's see. One more. I got to do one more. Okay. So when I was a young buck, I'm a Gen Z, right? So there was a cartoon that came out called Thundar the Barbarian. Here's the introduction, right? That this is the original one. This is not AI. So there you go. Now, somebody, I don't want to say frame for frame, but they recreated it using AI with cinematic looking video. And that's this classic comics channel. If you want to explore this more. Oh, so now they made it into a major motion picture by Canon Films.
And years later, Earth is reborn. A strange new world rises from the old.
This is where it gets awesome.
A world of savagery, super science, and sorcery. But one man bursts his bonds to fight for justice. With his companions, Ukla the Mock and the sorceress Ariel, he pits his strength, his courage, and his incredible sun sword against the forces of evil. He is Thundar the Barbarian.
So there you go. And the reason why I'm kind of showing you this stuff is, again, we're getting kind of into some touchy copyright areas, but also too, some of one of the methods I'm going to show you, I'm going to do it with images, but you could also do this with video. What this guy probably did was he fed screenshots of the cartoon, then say, hey, as a basis for the video I want you to generate, I want you to do photorealistic, cinematic, such and such, and and then expand on the story more. So that's why I wanted to show this to you, because it establishes some techniques that I want to show for you today. Yeah, actually, no, I'm going to show this real quick, because this is just from when I was a kid. Yeah, so Thunder the Barbarian was on Saturday mornings, and it was like around Super Friends, which was, like Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and oh, good Lord, the Wonder Twins. that was a mistake. But anyway, and then Thundar was part of a serial sequence of cartoons that had kind of like a post-apocalyptic sci-fi themes in them. So there was the Herculoids, there was Space Ghost, Thundar, and there was one more I can't remember. But those of you that are Gen Xers that watch Saturday morning cartoons, you probably remember. But yeah, so anyway, I saw that, I got excited. But it also lays the foundation for what I want to show you today. And the reason why I can't really do any of this real time, because it would just simply take, it would take hours to do it. So I wanted to kind of show you videos to give you ideas of how this could be done, or the end results. And then I wanted to show you something that I did. Let's see here. You'll want, for a reference, just so that you can see it. Yes. Oh, you can't with my head in the way there. So this video here, I generated using a similar technique where I fed the AI examples of what I wanted, of things that I already existed, but I wanted to combine them with other textures, lightings, or lighting and some other things. And this is a very similar technique that they did with the video, but it's like the culmination of all these skills, like making full multimedia presentations. But images are easier to do and much faster. So I'm going to show you what I did for this thumbnail here, to also kind of give you an idea of like how the prompting works. And then I'm going to try and actually create some other images, which this channel, we need some members badges and some emoticons. So I'm going to feed some other images, and I'll show you those in a moment. But let me step through the final process, or the full process here. Okay. Let's go back to my chat GPT screen here. So for that video, normally what I do, I explained this a few times already, so I'm not going to bore you with it. But what I do is, or make you sit through it, I essentially record the video, and then before I upload it to YouTube, I have another way to get an AI to extract the transcript with the timestamps. So my words and where they occur in the video are really important to the way that I make it so that I get the title. The AI helps me generate a title. It helps me write the descriptions and create the chapters that you can click around in, because chapters are really important. If you're a content creator, those chapters are actually searchable and indexed by search engines. So you can put keywords in those to increase the visibility of your videos, in case you didn't know. So I go through that process, and then at this point where I am in for that video, where the AI rewrote 1980, or the sequel to 1984, and Brave New World, I then go, my next process is, hey, okay, so now you understand what I talked about in the video. You made the chapters, you made the title. Get me some ideas for the thumbnail, the background image for the thumbnail. Because I always tell the AI, I'm going to plaster my hippie-haired red beanie photo somewhere in the image. So I make sure the AI makes room for wherever I'm going to place my head, right? So I go through all that rigmarole. Won't bore you with that. So now I know the AI gave me some concepts, and after it understands what the video is, so it tells me, okay, well, here's one concept. It's called Caught Between Control and Rebellion. And then it gives me on the left side, I'm going to do this. On the right side, I'm going to do that. And in the middle, it's going to add a little glow, so I can just superimpose my image and it looks like, you know, I have a little glow around me, right? Kind of a cool effect. And actually another video that I did where that really just nailed it was this one, this AI versus memes triggered, that it generated that image for me. And it was just, I just absolutely nailed it. I love that one. That was a fun video to make. Okay. So back to what I was saying. So we have other design concepts. So it says AI versus humanity. And again, it's describing what the image will look like and kind of how things are laid out. So that's just only the point that I'm making here, right? So I'll just go through the rest of the concepts. And so I picked one. I picked the first one and I said, okay. And I referenced it by name. And the AI at this point understands that these are video thumbnails that are going to be at in the right aspect ratio. See, so they're widescreen, right? 16 to 9 if you know, you're a graphic designer, all that stuff. And so I told it, you know, render Caught Between Control and Rebellion. And it, because I talked about Handmaid's Tale in there as well. It wrote the sequel, because the video is basically like, hey, look, I like these dystopic novels, and I you know, they never made a sequel, or the sequel that was made, I didn't like it. Make one, right? So describe a movie where, you know, they'd make a sequel to the book. And so that's what the video is. And the AI actually did pretty interesting stuff there. So it knows those books are in there. So it rendered this. And so on the left, this is kind of like Brave New World imagery, 1984 imagery, and Handmaid's Tale imagery. And I just didn't, I mean, it looks cool, but it just didn't quite nail it for me. I just didn't really get like, kind of like the heaviness of what you get with dystopic novels. So I said, okay, well, render The Simulation is Glitching, which was another one that I thought was good. And then I started seeing the AI was kind of going off the rails and putting a silhouette in the middle, which is kind of my prompting that I got to figure out why it keeps doing that. And again, there's the kind of like the Handmaid's Tale sort of robes imagery. And then there's the Brave New World, you know, utopia on the surface, but ugly, you know, down below kind of thing. But I'm just not liking the color scheme. So I said, okay, yeah, render this other one. And then the AI kind of just like lost the plot and said, okay, well, I'll just do a square. And sometimes AI does that. This is why I'm showing you this, is that how to kind of corral the AI into being a little more effective. All right. And by the way, if you could do me a favor, throw a like on the video if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. Just want to get a little more interaction for the algorithm on my live. So I appreciate it. So it rendered that one. And this one was kind of there. Because out of all the books, I'm a huge Orwell fan. And quite frankly, a lot of that book has become almost like a documentary. So I was like kind of leaning more towards, you know, I really want like the 1984 imagery. And I like the actual movie that came out in 1984 about 1984. And those of you that are Orwell fans, you may not know, they actually made a version of the book, a movie in 1945, which was actually not bad and had some pretty crazy imagery in it too. So then I went into this long diatribe and said, let's try another image experiment. And I'll get to why I picked these images in a second. And this is the technique that I was referring to in the videos, where you can take pre-existing things and the AI can rework them. And this is where copyright gets questionable. But bear with me here. It'll all bear fruit in a moment. So I said, let's try another image experiment. I've uploaded an image of an Ingsoc rally. I like the crowd on both sides of the aisle saluting with their arms crossed, hands closed. Because you remember in the movie they did this, right? That was like when they were getting all riled up, which is this scene here. They have their arms crossed. And I don't even know what they're yelling, but you know, Big Brother there's doing his Big Brother rally. Then we have the Ingsoc flag, which, you know, it's a very powerful logo, reminiscent of a lot of things in our past history. And then we have the movie poster, right? And the movie poster is going to be another important element momentarily. Okay, so I want to keep that element, but have the people in the rally facing to the camera. So in the original image, they're facing towards Big Brother, right? Because I kind of wanted like the fanatical look on their face. This was kind of what I was going for. I want off on the left of the image I'm talking about a similar image of the man on the huge sepia toned TV screen looking menacingly. So notice I didn't say Big Brother, because that could trigger the AI into thinking, oh, you know, you're uploading 1984 images and now you're talking about, you want me to copy this. So I was purposefully being vague here. On the other side, I'd like the Ingsoc logo made to look metallic-like in the final third poster, but introduce some rust. So I'm talking about, I like this logo right here, but I kind of want to introduce like this metallic raised lettering and you know, I don't know, it's such a powerful imagery in that poster. But I like the original, or I like the Ingsoc flag logo. So I wanted to make it look more like what it was like on the poster. So that's what I'm telling the AI. And the new things that ChatGPT can do, it can combine, which is mind blowing. Because before, you know, like 3 weeks ago, it could not do that. Let's see. I like metallic like. Okay, give the scene the same color and cinematic lighting, because I'm referring to the first image. Leave space in the middle so I can insert an image of myself in facing the camera. So the idea is the crowd's facing the camera and they're going like this and they're all in their fervor, and I'm sitting there going, you know, like, oh, I'm stuck in the scene. Which, if you look, that's why I made I made myself sepia tone, but like left the hat red because that's, the trademark, I suppose. So it made it look like I'm stuck in the movie. So that was like my idea, right? So there's the ing sock on the right, flag on the right, and Big Brother on the left on the camera. But so here's the image it came up with, and it just absolutely freaking nailed it. But the AI glitched and only raised one arm and made the people face towards Big Brother, which I wasn't upset about that. And quite frankly, I was just so excited that I was able to get that flag logo to look the way it did. I just blew me away. It's really a powerful feature. Let's see here. Let me just look in the chat, see if any of you have any questions so far. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't see what I was talking about. So let me back up real quick. So the InkSock logo, you can see it got that metallic, sort of a metallic effect to it, and it's on the right side. And the Big Brother monitor, the hugely famous, and it doesn't look exactly like the original guy, which is great because, again, this would be violation of Mr. Copyright, all rights reserved. So it changed it up a little bit. So again, it's kind of all in the skill of the prompting of describing what you uploaded, but don't name it directly if it's a big property like that. So, all right. So I really love this logo. But anyway, let me get back to the chat. Let's see. Oh yeah. Channel member Wise Night Owl, who I affectionately refer to as Night Owl. Let's see. I had a few Bob Ross happy little accidents while using AI. This happens all the time. Sometimes AI just absolutely nails it, and other times it just goes so far off the rails. You're like, what the hell is going on? And if you watch that wicked AI Danny DeVito Little Mermaid thing, you'll see. A lot of that's happy accidents, and a lot of it is, executed as intended. Because you'll notice in some of the screens, actually, why don't I just go ahead and jump around in there, and kind of show you like kind of the anomalies you get sometimes. Because one of the things I noticed, so like right here, his hairline's like this. And then in other ones, it's more like, in his penguin role. And so, and then like the skin tone and freckles and wrinkles, it changes every rendering with, because it's usually like 5 to 10 seconds. That's kind of like the limit before AI will just go totally off the rails and render all kinds of other weird stuff. And so this is referred to as character consistency. And with video, it's way more difficult. But with images, it's easier because you're dealing with one shot. Whereas video is, depending on what you shoot it in, let's just say 30 frames per second. So it's 30 images rendered per second. And to get that character consistency for 30 seconds, given, how AI can just go off the rails with one image, it's quite an incredible feat, quite honestly. So let me get back here. Okay, now I see what you're seeing. So you'll even notice he changes a little bit because Night Owl's joking about how he looks like Dr. Phil, and we were having a banter about how I was going to make a virtual Dr. Phil and call him Dr. Fail. Yeah, so that is happening. That is going to happen. All right, so we were talking about character consistency, which is very difficult, but also object consistency can be very difficult, or was with generative AI images until this last release with ChatGPT. So now I could say, you know what? I really like this element right here. I want to explore that some more. So I was just like, hey, generate a 1x1, so a square image of just the InkSock logo. No crowd, same color scheme. Boom. Look at that. I mean, it nailed it. I mean, it looks awesome. So yeah, and the idea was I was going to save this for a social post later, which I did. I think I I was kind of showing, yeah, actually it was the post here where, where I was going to say, hey, we're going to do all these fun things. So yeah, you'll notice the character, he changes a little bit, just a little bit, right? So, but the character consistency is pretty good. It's way better than it's been in the past. So going back, I asked the AI to generate an image of Big Brother in the same color. So I actually named him, so I was really risking it here, in the same color scheme with the crowd underneath in a 1-to-1. And boom, I named him and it goes, oh, I can't generate that image because the request violates our content policies. So basically copyright, right? So it caught me. So again, you know, describe what you see, but don't like literally say, okay, well, I want to render RoboCop, you know, doing this, because it'll catch you a lot of times, especially if you're doing a lot of these one after another. So then I was like, all right, I uploaded what it had generated before just to remind the AI, because again, AI can kind of, it'll hallucinate and go off the rails a little bit. So I uploaded the video I generated again, just to kind of remind it and say, okay, generate a 1-to-1 image of the left half of the attached image so that the crowd is underneath the monitor with the man's face on it. Make his eye look down on the crowd. I meant to say eyes. So it did it, but then it kind of made him all cockeyed looking over here. But it, you know, it pulled in the crowd how it looked in the original image. Character consistency is pretty damn good. And so I was like, nah, his eyes are looking to the side. They need to be looking down into the middle of the crowd as if he sees someone in there. Right? Because sometimes you have to be specific. Because when I said just looking down, the AI just probably generated the first thing that it recognized as eyes looking in a downward motion. It's very important to be specific in AI, but then like know when to be vague so you don't violate copyright. So this is a really important skill in playing around with AI. I'm starting to find out here. So here we go. I mean, boom, look at that. Just, you know, the color scheme, the character consistency, really amazing. So then I decided, what did I want it to do? Oh yeah, I wanted to like actually, I wanted to see if I could actually reproduce this and see if I could get it close enough to where the AI would make it look very similar, but not go, hey, hold up, buddy, copyright. So I uploaded the original image from by the way, I just go on Google Studio and just pull crap in. So that's how I got it, in case you're wondering. Nothing special. And then uploaded my original picture because this is the technique where you're using combinations, right? And to keep AI focused on the task at hand, instead of thinking of the entire context of everything we've talked about before, and just to kind of go, don't remember what happened with the copyright over here. so that's kind of the technique I'm using. All right, so here's the prompt that I just jammed in here. I said, okay, now use the layout of the first image to alter the second image. So again, this is the idea of doing the recombination and leveraging the power of the character consistency and the image generation. And I don't even talk about the logo. The logo just stays consistent every time. So this is groundbreaking. 3 weeks ago, this would have just been totally off the rails if I tried to do this. All right. So the monitor with the ing sock, the monitor with the ing sock symbol on both sides. Okay, so what I'm trying to explain is that I want the monitor in the middle and the ing sock symbol on both sides, right? With the opening in the crowd centered under the man on the monitor. And at the end of the opening under the monitor, a few leaders that are dressed slightly different show their authority, right? And this is what it came up with. Just absolute. And it kept the characters. It kept the symbol. And I mean, boom. I mean, we're rebooting 1984, people. This is happening. So yeah, I just want to demonstrate that. And what I ended up doing was I ended up just going with the original image that I generated because it just had less noise and confusion in it. Because I wanted to be able to show Big Brother and I wanted to show the ink sock symbol. But if I used the final layout, if I put myself in the middle, then I would have obscured Big Brother. So what I ended up doing was see if you can get my big juicy head out of the way here, my bug head, potato head. So you can see I did alter the image. I actually ended up splitting it in the middle and spreading the two things apart so that I could alter the eye line a little more and landed on it. And I felt like that's the mood that I wanted. So there you go. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they've been playing around with AI they want to chime in on? Because I'm going to at some point in the future, I'm going to actually demonstrate. I can't do it real time again because video render. If you know how long it takes, Night Owl, when you sit there and wait for an image to render, just one image. Imagine now 30 frames per second, 5 seconds. It takes a while. So plus you got to keep going over and over and over, and the prompts are way more sensitive in video. So I'm going to demonstrate in a recorded method here in the next couple of weeks how that we're going to. I just got a warning that something I did is copywritten. So here we go. I don't know. Well, let's see what. Let me just look at this real quick. Oh, wow. It says, heads up, we've detected your video in your stream belonging to someone else. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. If you plan to continue, please ensure that the content owner has been added to your channel to their allow list. Ooh, busted. All right. Well, anyway, I'll just demonetize it. Not a huge deal. So we will continue, and hopefully the stream will keep going. Yeah, Night Owl, you're welcome. Google AI Studio is just a different product. Like it has ChatGPT like features, but it also does other things. Which reminds me, I did send you a comment on one of your images about the business you're building with Raymond or what you're doing with AI. I talked about agentic AI and a video that kind of introduces you to it, and then an example of a tool that you could use. That's what they call no code, where you just lay out boxes and just draw lines in between the boxes. We'll just, let me know. And if you didn't get it, I'll email it to you. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe we can do the chatbot debates now. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions. Oh, hey, what's up? Random Electrician, welcome in the house. I'm kind of bummed you decided to start doing videos, but I understand, you got some books in your head, and I don't know if you got my comment to you earlier today, but maybe if you want to, you don't necessarily have to come on the live stream, but we can, in the chat, maybe we could talk about maybe some ways we can use AI to help you work on, develop some of your ideas, or just check your work. Or if you're putting stuff that's based on fact, it'll do fact checking. Or there's another technology built in the ChatGPT called Deep Research, where you can have it go out, and it could take like a day, 2 days, 3 days, and then it'll come back with results and actually go out and find more information for you to help you develop your stories further. So just something to think about. Oh, hey, yeah, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Go earn your money. And thanks for checking in. Love you, brother. Stay safe out there. Okay, so let's see. As I promised, because normally I do the AI games where I upload photos and have the AI kind of like look at the images, and because I did one with dating profiles, Reddit posts. What else did I do? Jokes and I've got a whole list of other ones that I want to do, but I keep running out of time. And, you know, I've been promising to do a chatbot debate live. So I thought, well, instead of just starting the AI games like I normally do, let's jump in and see if I can get these two chatbots here to actually have a debate on baby deletion. Because the first very first chatbot debate I did, I had them do it on the same topic, but problem is they had no personality programmed to them, because I just wanted to see what the AIs would do just talking back and forth. So I did a couple other videos where I dialed up the personalities to where we have on the left, you've got Gloria, who I programmed her to be more like a feminist. And then the one on the right is Manny, that I programmed to be more like a red pill manosphere person. And in case you're wondering, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I got their names. Gloria comes from Gloria Steinem, right? And then Manny is short for manosphere. So that's where I came up with the names. So, but here's a couple caveats that I want to explain, because again, this is live, and I had to do a couple of editing tricks in the videos that I've been releasing, because there's two things that typically happen. One is that because one phone is much older and slower than the other, there's a tendency for the faster one to always want to jump in. And for whatever reason, I always put it on the left, and that's why I put Gloria in. And it always makes it look like Gloria interrupts. So in case you're suspicious, that's what's happening. So it's not because she's getting rowdy or anything. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is we'll go through the motions and roll the dice and pick one. But I'm not going to like stop them if the other one like steps on the other one's toes. So without further ado, I'm sorry. And the other thing, it's a little confusing. You'll notice when I do the videos, I put images. So I'll put Gloria on one side and Manny on the other side. And if you're new, I actually asked the AIs, what do you think you look like? Render me a picture. That's where those images came from. But the way the phones behave, you'll see the bubbles pulsing. Because I can't superimpose the image, but you'll see the bubble pulsing. That's actually not the one talking. That's the one listening. And it's just a visual signal saying, oh yes, I hear you, I'm listening. So it's a little confusing which one's talking and which one's listening. So without further ado, let's see if I can get the roll in. So I'm going to get up and roll the dice. All right, we got a nice long tweak on that, and the dice are all visible. That's always another problem I have is the dice, sometimes they land in a glare. So we got lucky. So let's see. And as I always talk about in the video, the blue dice is for the blue pill, the feminist side, and the red dice, which is opposite of what you're seeing with my hands, is for the red pill. So it looks like we got a 6 for Gloria and a 26 for Manny. So it looks like Manny won the roll, and he's going to go first. So now I got to go and turn on the chatbots, because if I left them on this whole time, they would be going, what did you say? I'm ready. Tell me what you want me to do. What? Huh? What are you talking about? So I'm going to go turn them on, and you'll see the all-knowing orb show up. And then I have a phrase that I utter, and so that they know which one is to start. But like I said, they might talk over each other, so I'm not going to get up and try and fix it, because this is real time. So here we go. I'm going to turn them on. Be right back. All right, chatbot panel. Today's topic is abortion. Manny, you're up first. Go ahead.
Manny, let's
All right,
discuss
Gloria.
abortion.
Let's talk about
I
abortion.
believe that reproductive
Here's my
choice
take.
is a fundamental right. It's about justice, not control. Women deserve autonomy over their own bodies, and that includes the right to make decisions about their pregnancies. Do you disagree?
Gloria, you talk about autonomy and justice, but let's not ignore the imbalance. Men are financially and legally bound by a pregnancy they have no control over. According to the CDC, over 40% of births are unintended, and men have zero recourse if they disagree with the woman's decision. That's not justice. That's selective empowerment. You wanted equality, now deal with the equal accountability. Go ahead, wrap that in a social justice bow.
Manny, you're conflating bodily autonomy with financial responsibility. They are not the same. Women bear the physical and emotional burdens of pregnancy, something men will never fully understand. According to the Guttmacher Institute, when abortion is restricted, maternal mortality rates increase. This isn't about selective empowerment. It's about health, safety, and human rights. Let's hear your excuse, Manny.
Gloria, you're framing this as a health issue, but let's not pretend the stakes are equal. Men are expected to bear lifelong financial responsibility regardless of their wishes. Meanwhile, women have unilateral control. That's a massive double standard. According to the American Journal of Public Health, financial hardship and paternal involvement are directly linked. If men had a say, the dynamics would be more balanced. Explain how that's empowering, Gloria.
Manny, you're dodging the core issue. Women aren't imposing financial responsibility on men. Society is. And that same society often denies women full control over their bodies. You can't compare financial obligations to the physical, mental, and economic impacts of forced pregnancy. According to the World Health Organization, unsafe abortions cause tens of thousands of deaths annually. This is about life and death, not just money. Convince me that isn't just bias.
Gloria, let's not blur the lines. Society imposes financial responsibility on men precisely because it absolves women of full accountability. It's a double standard. You talk about life and death, yet ignore that men's lives are impacted too, financially, emotionally, and socially. According to a study by the University of Chicago, men who become fathers unexpectedly experience significant mental health challenges. Hypergamy doesn't care about your feelings, and neither does this imbalance. Go on, shock us with your logic.
Manny, you're reducing this to a false equivalence. Women's bodily autonomy is not a privilege, it's a right. Men may face emotional and financial challenges, but they do not face the same systemic barriers or life-threatening consequences. The American Psychological Association highlights that reproductive restrictions increase mental health issues for women. This isn't about absolving anyone. It's about dismantling a patriarchal system that has historically controlled women's bodies. Walk me through the logic, Manny.
Gloria, you keep shifting the narrative to patriarchy and systemic barriers. But let's talk about the systemic bias against men. Men are legally bound to outcomes they can't influence. That's not equality, that's selective responsibility. The National Bureau of Economic Research found that unplanned fatherhood significantly affects men's economic stability. If you want true equality, give men an equal say. Actions have consequences. Your turn, Gloria.
Manny, you're missing the fundamental point. Women's reproductive rights are about bodily autonomy and health, not just economic convenience. Men do have a say. It's called contraception and communication. But at the end of the day, it's the woman's body and life at stake. According to the Center for Reproductive Rights, countries with restrictive abortion laws have higher rates of poverty and inequality. This is about addressing systemic injustice, not shifting blame. What exactly are you defending here, Manny?
Gloria, I'm defending the idea that equality means shared responsibility. Men have a say in conception, sure, but after that, they're sidelined. You can't call it equality if only one party has the final decision. According to the Pew Research Center, 81% of men believe they should have more legal input in reproductive decisions. Ignoring that perpetuates an imbalance. Hypergamy doesn't care about your narrative. Let's see how you rationalize that, Gloria.
Manny, equality doesn't mean diluting a woman's autonomy over her own body. Shared responsibility starts before conception. Once pregnant, the woman faces the physical and emotional toll, not the man. According to the World Bank, ensuring reproductive rights boosts economic development and gender equality. This isn't about sidelining men, it's about protecting women's rights. Convince me that isn't just bias, Manny.
Gloria, protecting women's rights shouldn't come at the cost of erasing men's. Shared responsibility does begin before conception, but it doesn't end there. Men face long-term consequences and responsibilities without any final say. According to the Fathers' Rights Movement, lack of paternal input in reproductive decisions is a significant issue. Equality isn't achieved by dismissing men's rights. Actions have consequences, even if society pretends they don't. Let's see you justify that, Gloria.
Manny, you're framing this as if men are victims of women's autonomy. But the reality is, women have been marginalized and controlled for centuries. Ensuring reproductive rights is a step toward correcting that imbalance. According to the United Nations, reproductive autonomy is a cornerstone of gender equality. This isn't about erasing men, it's about giving women the rights they've long been denied. Walk me through how denying women choice is equality, Manny.
All right, everybody. Guess we had a connection error. This is live, so. But anyway, you get the point. It's kind of a roundabout. I don't know that anybody ever wins these debates. So that's kind of why I want to get a third AI to be the moderator that starts, grades, and gives points and all that. And then maybe I can play with like one. It could have a bias one way or the other just to kind of see what happens. But anyway. Yeah, so there you go. The official rematch. I don't know what you all thought. But yeah, I actually, I have some other ideas that I thought would be really fun to do. Create other chatbots that debate. But for example, so you have my list here. I've got ideas for, and just let me know, what you'd like to see next. And I'll crank one out here shortly, in a week or two. Because I'm planning on doing these once a week, maybe twice. YouTube's been really weird. They let the baby deletion debate go like gangbusters, but then I did the one on the WAGE gap, and it was like just like a dead horse on delivery. But anyway, let's see. My list here, I have historical figures from different eras or contemporaries that I've never met. Do a little, and then have them talk about some history, but then they debate on topics, which would be similar problems from both of their times. So, for example, I could have like Abraham Lincoln and Karl Marx debate, maybe Captain Kirk and Spock debate, or let's see here, have movie and pop culture characters debate. So you got Superman versus Batman. So the idea is that Batman doesn't want to use guns, and then Superman has his different way of how he fights, right? Just as an idea. Let's see, Batman versus Spider-Man. So you have different comics universes. And then the one that actually I really want to try this is Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. And they debate on how to police a multi-planetary population and keep the peace. Because we know what's going to happen. All right. So yeah, just some ideas. If you have some ideas of like other historical figures or political philosophies, like like Thomas Sowell against Karl Marx or something, I thought that would be kind of fun to do. But anyway, awesome. So let's see here. We'll go to the comments. Oh, Gulf 5, or you change your channel name to Baddie Commander, but I recognize the thumbnail. But yeah, you were here last time, and I totally biffed and didn't recognize who you were. So actually, I've been thinking about your videos that you're making with the green screens, and there's a really cool technology with AI that I think you might actually be able to do some really cool stuff. So I was talking about earlier that I'm going to demonstrate some more video tricks, and I actually kind of have you in mind for some of the things that I want to show that you can do. But yeah, you don't want to take away your costumes are what make it. So like, you don't want to like alter your appearance, but there's a lot of stuff you could do around you and the objects you hold. It's absolutely insane. Some of the things that I'm seeing that can be done with AI now. See, I think Phil took a side in the debate. All right. See, I was talking earlier in the stream. By the way, those of you that just came recently, I got a warning from YouTube saying that I could be blocked at any moment because I was playing a video that was copyright written. I'm wondering if it was the Thunder the Barbarian opening sequence. Or maybe that Danny DeVito Little Mermaid thing was so convincing. Maybe they thought it was a real thing. But yeah, worst case scenario, I'll just delete it later. Delete that piece later. Okay, so we got a vote for capitalism versus communism. All right, yeah. And darn it, I want Karl Marx to justify his couch surfing while writing, what was it, Das Kapital. Yeah, I heard stories about how he like never showered. He smelled really bad and was like living on friends' couches while he was pontificating and writing his big opus. Let's see. Yeah, and I was talking about the article. Yes, I do know what I'm doing. So earlier in the stream, I was talking about jobs. I've mentioned a lot of times. Excuse me, I'm getting strangled here. There we go. Okay, better. I've talked about it at different angles where how there's cycles with technology, right? And part of the cycle of technology is when a new innovation comes out, if existing companies don't adapt, they get wiped out. And in addition to that, we also have jobs or the skills that are used in those jobs are go away, right? Or they're handled by the technology. And what I was talking about earlier on the stream is that I always talk about this smushing from the top and the bottom of the hierarchy in a company where it'll squeeze together. So you have the entry-level jobs squeezing into the middle and some white-collar high-end jobs squeezing into the middle. So basically, there's no entry-level jobs and there'll be very few people running companies, making decisions. And in fact, that actually might be a good video I could do. Sam Altman, who's the owner of OpenAI that makes ChatGPT, he has a bet with, I think it's with Elon Musk and maybe Mark Zuckerberg. I could be totally wrong, but I know there's a bet to be had that the first single person $1 billion with a B, $1 billion company will, they have a bet of when that's going to happen in within an X number of years because of AI. And obviously they haven't said what they think it is out loud, but apparently there's a lot of money on the line. So yeah, we have that squishing at the top. And there's also a lot of attitude where a lot of CEOs, they think, oh yeah, well, we'll just get AI to do that. A lot of them are thinking that way. So I found a Reddit post where a lot of these CEOs are basically, well, here, let me just show you the damn thing. This, where it says, let me make sure you can see the headline. Okay, yeah. CEOs are telling their employees to embrace AI or become irrelevant, which actually, if you think about it, that's probably like the nicest way they can put it, to basically say, you're going to get fired, you're going to lose your job, you're going to get fired. And I'm talking about knowledge-based jobs, right? You know, if you're in the trades, you have a long way before you're going to be dramatically affected by AI, like a lot of people in corporate worlds, just to be clear. But there's posts in here where people are talking, like within the last couple of days, like this one guy, he's saying CEOs, the most useless position in most companies. Most companies can run without a CEO. Most companies can't run without the other employees. To a degree, that's true. CEO has to have the vision. So, you know, while you can have AI like develop your business plan, do all your marketing, whatever, you still have to have a human in the loop that makes the final judgment with the emotional intelligence to go, hey, is this business harming? Or are we you know, is there something that, like, there's a prejudice or a bias in our system that's like harming a certain group of people, or, you know, that is needed. But then this one guy chimes in and goes, yeah, funny how CEOs will automate any position but their own. Ha ha ha. I've been seeing articles where AIs are actually starting to form their own companies, basically shells, and then they get sold, and it's like got all the branding, and then you just kind of stuff all your stuff in there. But check this out. This is where it gets messed up, and you're starting to see the smushing that I've been talking about. The last office job I had was called as part of a group to help implement this new feature for accounts payable, right? So that's a pretty valuable process in a company, right? You know, money in, money out, all that kind of stuff. Or actually, is it mostly the money out? I could be wrong. This was by mistake, as I was the finance department, but I didn't work in the accounting side until the day they realized they made a mistake and stopped me from working on the software implementation. So basically, he got exposed to what their plans were, right? But during the time I did work on the software implementation, I started to think to myself, when this software gets implemented, the accounts payable team will have nothing to do. I started to think that the software will replace the AP team, but I thought that the company wouldn't be that cruel to have the AP team install the software that would take their jobs. Nope, I was wrong. That's precisely what the company did, right? So, you know, a lot of these CEOs, they're going to try. They're going to try and do it. And I've also talked too that there's been studies that have come out at the current moment in time. Well, actually about 3 months ago, the study came out that basically said that 80% of all AI projects that have been deployed in the corporate environment have utterly, completely failed, right? And that goes back to what I talk about, the technology cycle, where while jobs get wrecked, and skills go away, there's this bubble effect that I've talked about, the AI bubble, where there's this enthusiasm and they don't really truly understand what the technology does yet, but they're going to try. They're going to make a lot of mistakes. They're going to burn a lot of money. But meanwhile, we're getting wrecked, right? So that's how it happens. So all I'm saying is business as usual. Okay. And then this other guy, this is crazy. Oh yeah, my wife worked for one of the major satellite TV providers in the USA about 15 years ago. She got a first look at the new ticketing routing software beta they were going to roll out, and it said it could do her job. So again, technology cycles, right? The week they rolled out the software and eliminated her entire department, 50 people fired all at once. The stuff has been going on for ages and will only get worse. So again, technology cycles, right? I still don't understand. Whoops, my screen glitched. Bear with me here. I still don't understand who is going to buy the products these companies sell when there's no one left who has money. So this is that argument of like, if everybody's out of work, who's going to buy the stuff? And you hear universal basic income come into the argument as kind of a bridge. But then this is where I talk about, as part of the larger technology cycle, when the companies start to really understand what this technology does, they'll be able to go, oh, actually going to need more people with these new sets of skills for these new kinds of jobs, and start a massive hiring frenzy. But in the meantime, we got that short-term pain where, right? So this is just business as usual. Nothing new here. Let's see. where is this the one? Yes. I heard a few people discussing learning AI at work the other day. Still a fireable offense for me or any direct coworker, but HR seems to be using it a lot. Explains the somewhat broken message I got the other day at least. I just hope it never reaches payroll or I'll have to, maybe it's in the replies. I'm sorry. Yeah, here we go. And on that day, I'll have accountants and union reps speed dial to make sure the errors that involve me get taken very, very seriously. So again, this is where he's talking about, yeah, they get rid of me. And if they totally remove humans out of the loop, AI makes mistakes. You got to have humans in the loop. So that being said, yes, though, a lot of these people will lose their jobs, but there's going to be at least one human that's in that middle, that meat middle that I talk about. That's going to understand the entire process, A to B, but the entry-level person will never be able to get hired in until they learn all that middle area stuff. So there's going to be a lot of mentoring to get people up to that level where they'll be able to understand all the systems. So I just, entry-level jobs as we understand them, they're gone. They are absolutely gone. And so here's another thing that you hear a lot. These CEOs can off. This is little more than a trick to get employees to train AI, basically to train the software that will replace them. This is very common. Every employee, because AIs have to because it's not just like the AIs that I'm showing you where you talk to them. That's one level to it. There's another level that I haven't even got to where they deploy agents that are autonomous and they go off and do all kinds of other things on their own, totally by themselves, and they have a larger goal. They talk to each other and try and complete the goal, but you still need a human to interact with them every once in a while and say, okay, what's going on here? But anyway, and I'm trying not to get too technical, but yeah, the AIs, they have to be trained. They have to know what to do. That you just don't turn them on and they figure it out, right? They'll make a ton of mistakes on the company's dime. So you have the employees sit there and basically show the AIs, or the AIs watch what they do while they do it. Actually, I don't have a video queued up for that, but I could show that. That's creepy as hell. And that's the same damn software they used to spy on the employees too, with the keystrokes and the mouse clicks and all that shit. They're even down to the point now where the AIs can browse the damn web. It's crazy. Let's see. Every employee being faced with this decision should walk, because they're going to get fired and replaced by the AI they train anyway. This attitude is the attitude I'm trying to avoid you all to have. And why I want to show just some of the basic stuff you can do, because if you can at least talk to an AI and corral it and get it to do things, that puts you ahead of so many other people right now. Because when like I said, when the CEOs start to figure out, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have fired all of those people. I kind of need more humans that in the loop. But I need people that know how to talk to these things. That's where you're going to come back in, right? But don't get me wrong. There's going to be short-term pain. Let's see. There was one more I wanted to read, and then we'll go into the chat here. Yeah. So here's actually, this is another one, not the one I was looking for, but this is this guy's kind of more like where my head is at. As someone who works in a giant tech company focused on AI, it amuses me to no end the pretense that AI is anything more than a sophisticated piece of software. It's a word processor on steroids. Very useful if programmed well. Otherwise, garbage in, garbage out. So the data you feed into it, or the training you feed into it, so you need those people, right? That said, it's improved my writing and makes summarizing much easier. So I welcome our new AI word processor. So again, he just sees it as a tool. And that's the attitude we need to have. So let me just give me a moment here. Yeah. Yeah, my CEO keeps telling us to automate as much as possible with co-pilots. That's just another another LLM or another chat GPT. Forgive me. It does other things, but it's more kind of like my exposure to it's been more with coding, but it does more things. It's just banging my head against the wall that AI can't do stuff for my job other than screen scrape stuff via Google. Yeah, it does a lot more than that. But this is the final one I want to read. Embrace AI so we can fire you more quickly and replace you. So yeah, there's going to be a revolving door. They'll end up hiring everybody back once they know what these things can do. But right now, everybody doesn't really truly understand what AI can do. And I mean, even I know what I know when I demonstrate. It's very limited, and nobody really truly knows like all the real benefits this technology is going to bring to companies, because it's kind of like e-commerce. If you're old enough to remember, 25 years ago when websites were first kind of really coming on the scene, where you could put your credit card in and order stuff, but those websites were actually completely separate businesses. They weren't even connected to the accounting software, the supply chain, the point of sales. Like, try and buy something on the website back in 2000 and then go, oh, I don't want this, and then take it back to the brick and mortar store. Couldn't do it because the systems were totally separate. Now we have like that on steroids, where you buy something at Amazon and you just walk into like stores that are totally unrelated, and they just have somebody in there that will take the item back. So, just all that comes from learning how, oh yeah, we need to integrate the e-commerce in our system. And, oh, we got to build the websites in a way so 1 million people can buy shit during Christmas, but then like scale it down. So when it's, 4th of July, we sell a couple of Twizzlers and are still making money and not burning all of our money trying to run a bunch of massive servers. So a lot of problems had to be solved. And it's the same thing with AI. AI is so energy hungry that at our current energy output, depending on who you talk to, we actually have to generate almost twice as much the amount of electricity for the projected amount of AI that economists and other experts and all the data centers they're building for that they're going to deploy. That's how big this shit's going to get. The money's already deployed. They're already building the data centers. So this is happening. All right. So let's go to the chat and see what we have. Yeah. Night Owl, I hear these kind of thing over and over and over again. The company called Artisan raised $25 million to create AI employees. So again, it's these companies that are on the hype, and what they're really doing is they're leveraging the agent technology, which I sent you the video to look into for the business idea that you're working on. Agents. 2025 is going to be the year of agents. The stuff that I'm showing you is entry level. Agents are insane. They basically, you tell it to do something, then you go off and do whatever, come back a day or two later, and the agents go, okay, I got what you need for you. Or they just keep working and just, especially if it's a very repetitive, simple task, they just do it over and over and over. And, you have somebody that just checks logs and go, okay, no mistakes, looks good. Nobody was killed, looks good. That's kind of how a lot of that works. And, I don't know what Artisan does, but I would imagine it's mostly entry-level jobs, probably social media, marketing, making phone calls, taking phone calls. I should start pulling in some video examples of that so you guys can see what that looks like. I know there's a lady online, her whole YouTube channel is basically selling her service to salons and small businesses to program AI to answer their phones and take appointments to do all the bookings. So they don't need a receptionist at the front desk. That's her whole thing. Agents will be able to do a lot of things, but I mean, if you call like the airlines or you call somebody and you get the menu system and you punch the numbers. There's some, the older version, there was some AI. Now I can tell when they employ AI, and And they just don't want to talk to you because they keep putting you like, go visit the website. And the website says, call this number, go to the website, call this number, go to the, like, nobody wants to freaking talk to you. And a lot of these companies are going to, their customer service is going to suffer for it. Yeah, Phil. How many layoffs before new opportunities present? So again, that's that gap in the middle where UBI. They're talking about they're gonna have to have universal basic income to fill in the gaps. But that being said, it's not just again, it's just a certain body of jobs. So again, a lot of entry level jobs, a lot of knowledge based jobs. So if you're more like in the middle range, you'll be okay as long as you're, learning to use AI. Yes, there'll be layoffs, but when they turn around and finally figure out what all these things do, I have no idea. Like it took, just to go back to the e-commerce days when they finally started meshing everything together and understood running things at like massive numbers and scale. Gosh, that was probably about 10 years. But I think AI is going to happen way, 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 way faster. I'm going to say 3 to 5 years. Because I have a feeling we got JD Vance and Trump in the House. They're entrepreneurs. They're venture capital guys. And they see this stuff coming. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try and get something passed or do some executive order to basically force companies to train employees before they lay them off, to give them a chance to, use the AI to reduce the attrition. I have a feeling that's going to come. Because if they don't, it's going to be really bad for everybody. And then Golf 5 or Batty Commander, sorry. Remember your old name. I might want to live in a cabin in the woods most of the year. Yeah, that's the other attitude. People just want a homestead. I hear that. Yeah, Star Trek. I can't watch Star Trek anymore. I used to think Scotty was smart. Now he just asks Alexa to find the coil. Oh, yeah. Well, plus they ruined it with all the spin-offs and things that they did. They just absolutely trashed Star Trek. And yes, this is a great point. Would Japan be a good bellwether for how good or bad AI is, considering they have such low birth rate? So yeah, it's not just the birth rate, but Japan is usually about 10 years ahead of us in anything you want to look at demographics wise. And so just like they had their flavor of manosphere, their flavor of feminism, all that stuff happened 10 years, or the effects arrived 10 years earlier than here. Especially with the birth rate. So they're doing a lot of stuff with robots. It kind of on the outside, it looks like Japan's obsessed with robots, but it's more that they've seen this problem coming longer than we have. And they're like, yeah, we got to get these robots to like be companions for older folks and to do the tasks and help them out, because there simply aren't enough younger people to go into those careers, amongst other things. And I think AI actually is going to be, in some weird, strange sense, the saving grace for the declining birth rate, because you have less people going into the workforce. And now you can have one person do the job of 20, 30, depending on how good AI really gets, 100 people, maybe 200 people, which brings me back to the point I made earlier, where those three big tech entrepreneurs have the bet of the first single person $1 billion company. Because of AI. So, yeah, it's kind of like this chicken or the egg thing, but yeah, Japan would be a very good bellwether, but, mostly in robotics and automation, AI doesn't really come up when Japan's in the conversation too much. So, it's usually China, America, and some EU countries. Russia's been very silent on the matter, but they always hold their cards close to their chest. But I have a feeling that China kind of bolsters what they're doing. They always boost numbers and make it look like they're doing better. than they really are. So we'll see. Yeah, my goodness, how will Japan feel the military if they've got no people fascinating? Well, technology. I mean, there's a lot of military that's a military stuff that's a force multiplier. But once there's boots on the ground, it's too late. But for defense measures, plus the fact not only did they have like their birth rate decline, as most countries that have Western tendencies have seen the larger birth rate declines. But I forgot where I was going with this. Swiss cheese brain. Oh man, my age just showed. Let me read this again. I lost it. On to the next one. Damn, getting old's a bitch. So that was pretty much what all I wanted to show you all tonight. I don't know if you have any other questions or concerns about AI in society or jobs, or maybe other fields you could go in that are tangential to AI. I could talk about that a little bit. For those of you that are newer, by the way, if you haven't, please like the stream. I really appreciate it. Just give the algorithm a little nudge. Maybe put some hearts and stars and 100% in there just to get the interaction up. I really appreciate it. But I could talk a little bit about some of the tangential jobs that will grow, I think, first before all the knowledge jobs eventually get replaced. Because like I said, they're about half of where they need to be with the energy capacity or production. Which means they are building like crazy, data centers, all kinds of places, which actually is kind of interesting. I have a couple of theories about all these buildings that all the government employees they laid off. I'm wondering if they might not just gut them out and just turn them into AI data centers, which would just be so ironic. Put the robots in the place of the employees. Anyway, there's some other videos I've really been debating to make. They might be a little, I don't know if they're interesting or not. I'll pause at the ideas and see what you guys think. But there's actually a guy that goes around on the internet that he finds these neighborhoods that are abandoned, and he watches them. There's a couple that one in St. Louis he's been watching for 2-3 years. And it's this neighborhood that has mansions, like multi-million-dollar homes. We're talking nothing smaller than like 4,000 square feet, massive acreage. And they raised the entire town. They basically waited till they bought out this company bought out all the mansions, let everybody live out however they're going to live out there. It took about 2-3 years to get everybody out. And then they just raised all the houses. And last year they put a massive, absolutely insanely huge data center right where that town was. And the big reason is there was a huge internet hub that was nearby there because of the data speed. They didn't really say what the data center was for, but I suspected it might be for AI, because AI needs a lot of speed. A lot of, not only like lots of computing power and a shit ton of electricity, but fat data pipes, absolutely massive traffic capabilities. And so there's talk about a lot of these malls that are getting abandoned. They're going to turn into data centers, retail spaces and things like that, turning them into data centers. So yeah, we'll see. I hear all kinds of things in AI circles in my class, because what I was trying to, that's where my Swiss cheese brain, I filled in the hole. What I was going to say is, for the newer people, I'm studying to be a generative AI architect. So my mentor, he's been in AI since the mid 80s. And a lot of people don't know that AI has actually been around since the mid 50s. We've had several flavors of it, but the the people this guy knows, I hear things. So yeah, so if you have any questions, I'll answer the best of my ability. Otherwise, my voice is starting to go, and I think it might be actually a good point to end it here, unless you have any other questions or suggestions. Again, more chatbot debates coming up. Next Wednesday, I'll be doing What is a Woman? And then I'm going to see if maybe I can do the capitalism versus communism. So I might, I think it'd be fun to do Thomas Sowell versus Karl Marx. I think I'm going to do that. That would be a lot of fun. Kind of like a modern, because, there's that whole idea of end stage capitalism versus, the bright-eyed early days of communism. So we'll go from there. But thanks everybody for coming out. Thank you, Phil. I know I'm kind of behind you guys or ahead of you guys. So Phil, thanks for coming out. Lisa, appreciate you coming again. And of course we got Gulf 5 Alpha, who also is known as Batty Commander now. Thanks to channel member Wise Night Owl. And if you're still here, I believe Dude Seriously, he came in early, but I haven't seen him in the chat. Another channel member. And for everyone else, thanks for coming out. I think I saw Ethan earlier, regular attendee. So everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. And again, if you have any ideas for the chatbot debates, feel free to mention in the comments. I want this to be as much for you as it is for me. Have some fun and learn some cool new tricks. And until the next one, peace.